Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about Shashi Tharoor's Inglorious Empire. And the first thing I want to talk about this book is that I always wondered what it was to be alive in the colonial period. And this book kind of walks you through it. It kind of gives you a gist of how things were, especially in India, because I think India would be one of the kind of colonies that were quite distinct with the other British colonies, like, for example, Hong Kong or Singapore. So, so I was always curious what was actually different, and I think I kind of got the answers. And there was a lot of things that was really important in this book, and the first thing was basically one of the main reasons Indians got colonized was because of Indians. Basically, it was the Mughal Empire in India was fading away, and and that empire basically just handed over the baton to the British. Actually, not literally, but they gave them a certain level of control, and then the English took over basically after that, which is which didn't work out too well for us. And the other thing was that uh, trade seemed to be very good in India even before the British came, because now you can see that there were evidences of Indians trading with from the southern region with Greece and the Roman Empire back in the day. So trade was there, and even one of the biggest textile regions were what now today is called Bangladesh, and it was a big textile region, and the handlooms were quite famous. But what happened was a certain kind of tariffs and regulations were imposed in a way where it was basically it was not able to compete with the British alternatives. And apparently, back in the day, Indian handlooms were basically like the British would make counterfeit Indian handlooms just to sell them, just to sell at a higher price and make a good profit. And that was mind blowing for me. And the other thing that was really important was that he talks about the specific point where I think this is a really controversial thing where it touches upon the caste issues in India, and Brahmins happen to be the highest class of people, and they seem to hold some kind of final say in the traditional textbooks. And the claim that is made and is controversial, and the fact that what he's trying to say is that the Brahmins at that time basically changed their position from the. So basically, there was something called Code of Gento. Basically, the British was trying to understand the law, the regional and traditional laws of the religion, basically. And when this was being translated during the Mughal time, um, so the language that was used was Persian. And because the Persian language was used, and it was first, so the court language was Persian. So what basically happened was that they were trying to, because the English knew Persian, they wanted all this in Persian, and the Hindu scholars did know Persian because they were in the Mughal courts as well. So what happened was they translated everything into Persian, and then now it is being translated back into English. So now scholars are like, wait, they just changed the law. So basically, they put themselves at the top, and they made sure that they would never get executed for any kind of crimes. That was one thing, and the other was kind of interesting for me because people keep saying that that the empire apologists keep saying that um, they just came to the idea is called Orientalism, basically. So they would say that the Asiatic countries, they're known for the chaos and they needed saving, like desperate saving, basically. And he kind of takes a crack at it, but it's just that you see the Western world now and you see the developing countries now, and I don't know. I don't know if I if I can like stick to his argument because yeah, Europe has had colonial money and all of that, but to what extent does it really help in like development as such? Because you can see that uh, the land is made of is like any change happens because of the people in it as well. And I'm sure we can, as an Indian, I can point out a few things why this place hasn't changed like the West. And so yeah, we could have lacked money, but I think India still has money now. But things have been, I don't know, like a functional corruption still exists, and which made me think. So basically, when the British came to India, they were paid like handful basically. They were paid like triple what they would have gotten paid back home. So this made me think of an analogy actually. So if I used to live in London, and when like imagine I've seen people who take government benefits and all of that. So what happens is that imagine telling a person who's on like government benefits, and you tell this guy like, oh, you see, there's a land right off on the other side of the lake or the pond. Um, if you go across the pond, you'll have a lot of money, and you can bring back a lot of jewels back home, which is worth a lot of money. And there's a term actually called nabob in English. So it's basically a derogatory term for people who've made the money, but not in a legitimate way, because they just went to India and stole some gold or diamonds or whatever. So it's basically it's a word that was taken from I think it was Urdu. Called it's just an alternative word for Nawab. It was derived from that, and but the meaning is quite different though. So basically, this term came into existence because people who actually made money in Britain the right way, like the legal, not the, you can't say the legal way, but like people who did legitimate business and made the money. Now you see people coming in with money just because they went to India and made some money. So what basically happens is that so these people start buying properties in the neighborhood where only rich people live, and that kind of pisses everyone off because the prices keep rising, and that was a real issue. And it seemed like so the kind of uh, the suffering that Indians went through at that time was also acknowledged by the parliament members of Britain. So, which made me think was like because he was quoting all of the English member of the parliament um, on the suffering of Indians, because that made me think, okay, his claims are actually legitimate because they did notice it. But it's just that the point that I'm trying to make is that the people that came to India weren't the best of the English, is what I'm thinking right now, because like I said, a person collecting his benefits, if you tell him, oh, there's treasure on the other side of the pond, you can take how much ever you need. That's not the best mentality to have when you come to serve abroad or serve your empire. So basically, and at that time, you're probably thinking, okay, these people are below me, so you can steal how much ever you want. So that's the difference between the other colonies and India, especially, I think, because the English didn't send the best here. They just sent the people that, the ones that really wanted to make the money. So they came here for what they wanted. So despite having like charters of how things have to be done, people didn't quite do it properly. And I think I have one more point to talk about. Uh, yeah, it was just interesting to see how like what kind of people came here, because just from the stories and just from just from the mentalities, like I because you usually hear, oh, the best, like the noblemen, the noble Englishmen came to India, but it didn't seem like that's what happened. At least most of them just came here for the money, and it didn't quite work out well for us. And but yeah, It's kind of it's just I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's just and the last one was and the most important one that still has India is that the concept of division that the British really fueled, because uh, the British had a kind of had a mindset where they always thought that Islam and India would never get together, so they kind of always like put fuel in that fire, and they really legitimized that hate because uh, I think the problem was that if you if you look at it like that, and I think it makes sense why they would look at it that way, because all Abrahamic faith claim that they are the one, like they there is a concept of conversion in that, and there's a bit of what would you call it, like there's rewards for converting people. So and they seem to draw like proper boundaries with the religion, but I don't think it's the same with Hinduism, at least. So I kind of see why would they would think that, but it didn't. We kind of didn't like draw our own boundaries, saying no, no, actually it works. We seem to work quite well. So uh, I don't know, man, this still hurts India, but yeah. But I would say that this is a really, really, really good book. If you really want to know what India was like before independence, try reading this. But yeah, see you in the next one. Bye bye.